Right now we're going to be talking about something that could be a complete catastrophe, and once I describe what that catastrophe could be, I'll give some tips to how to avoid it. I'm hoping this is going to be of interest to people who enjoy movies and might want to know a little bit more about some of the drama that might go behind the scenes, but especially for anybody who might be interested in making their first or second film, maybe on a larger scope than they've made before. Want to give them some tips so that they don't go completely out of their mind. First, a little scenario. Imagine the horror of being a sound designer and receiving some audio files from a director who shot his film, being asked to add some sound effects, which we'll talk about more in depth later, about how exactly to do that. But you're going to add those, you're going to build a wonderful sound accompaniment to his film. It looks great in your studio. You send the files to him, and nothing lines up. All the dialogue is wrong. People look like they're talking, and it's behind, and it looks horribly unprofessional. And you can't understand exactly why it's not working. Well, there's a lot of reasons why that is very likely to happen. And there's certain things that people in the industry do to prevent that exact same thing from happening. Some of you may recognize from various experiences watching a countdown from 10, where you see these little numbers on screen. It goes 10, 9, and then on the number 2, there's a pop. This is called a 2-pop. And there's also a thing called a tail pop that a lot of people don't know about. It is the exact same thing as the 2-pop, but it's at the end of the film. And the idea is that if you receive a recording with the pop on the beginning and the end, and if you can line up your pop where it's supposed to be at the beginning, record all of your audio on separate tracks, line up that pop, line up the one at the end, send it back to them. And if they can line up all of these pops, then it means it's in sync at the beginning, it's in sync in the end, and the assumption is everything in between is in sync. Then you've maintained the synchronization that you need to make the movie possible. The other thing that you really need to make sure of is that all of the file types, in particular something called a sample rate, is correct. You can mostly record in 2 main kinds of sample rates in your software. One is 44.1, which is for recording audio for CDs, for recording a band, recording some music. But 48 kilohertz is generally the accepted medium for DVD and for video. And one thing to understand is that if you do not set that setting correctly from the beginning, then everything will look to be perfectly in sync with you while you're in your workstation. And then you send it off to them, and they convert it automatically to the one that they're working in, and all of a sudden, all the work that you've spent so much time on is going to be completely useless, and you have to start all over again. So, just in review, 2 things. Please make sure you use the 2-pop and the tail pop, and you ask for it as the sound designer to make sure that you're going to be able to preserve sync and preserve all the work you've done. And make sure that before you get started, it's very clear what your sample rate is, so that you can make your settings match the settings of the person that you're going to receive your files from, and they're going to match the settings of the person that you're going to give your files to. If you can do that, then the experience will be quite a little bit, it'll be quite less stressful for you.